Welcome back to Red Thread, a pseudo very quick loose threads episode thrown together within the last day because there has been an enormous revelation in the Epstein debacle. Debacle feels like a word that is underselling the whole, the last few years of the Epstein saga, hasn't it?
Yeah, so I would go further.
What would you
I would
go?
say snafu.
Snafu. Now that's
I would say kerfuffle.
You're busting out the big ones now. That's you're getting into murky territory for a man who has previously been through the legal process regarding defamation. I'd hold your horses a little bit with the words like snafu.
Snafu? Too far?
Too far.
All right, what about this? Misunderstandings.
There we go. Yes.
There's been misunderstandings.
Slightly offensive term to be using when dealing with something such as the Epstein saga. But no, all jokes aside, the situation has had a breaking news element to it in the last few days. Someone very close to Epstein and very close to England has been formally charged or arrested even, publicly arrested, in the process of an investigation made onto him. I'll give you 3 guesses, Jordan, as someone living in a hole, who that might be.
Oh, God. His name is on the tip of my tongue. Is it Jimmy Carr?
For some reason, I thought you were going to go Elton John.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy was on it, actually. Elton John?
Yeah, I thought you were going to go Elton John.
I don't think Elton swings that way.
Well, you'd be wrong. I mean,
I don't just think yours is more ridiculous. What?
We're going to talk about this later on in this episode because some more breaking news came out within the last few hours, like the last 12 hours, about someone else getting arrested as well in England for similar charges. And that man was a gay man, or is a gay man. So I'm not sure how this even works, honestly.
Okay, was it Elton John or not?
It was not Elton John. Prince Andrew.
Nah, that's a lie. There's only one gay man in the UK.
Prince Andrew was arrested today, or a few days ago.
2 gay men, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he was arrested. I was aware of this.
I mean,
dim little hole.
Everyone's aware of it. I was building it up for dramatic effect, really, for something that everyone knows and also is in the title of this episode. So there was really no point of that. But regardless, yes, Prince Andrew has been arrested on the morning of his 66th birthday.
Damn.
Yeah, he was arrested on the morning of his 66th birthday following revelations from the January 30th, 2026 Epstein files release when the FBI released over 3.5 million documents. You can go watch our last Epstein episode, basically, where we covered that deluge of documents that were released by the FBI and administration. Now, what's interesting about this, though, this specific arrest, Jordan, is your impulse, especially after you've seen the many photos of Prince Andrew with victims, let's call them, specific women who would go on to testify in court about his improper behavior, his crimes. You would think that the arrest would have to do with that. No. None of these arrests currently have anything to do with any sexual misconduct, even though
that does surprise me.
Even though that feels like it should be the central thrust of any kind of investigations currently. But so the charges that are levied against him relate to his conduct when he was the UK's special representative for international trade and investment, which he held from between 2001 to 2011. Basically, he held that trade representative role. And he was a working royal up until giving up those public duties following the controversy of his relationship with Epstein in 2019. So he's basically been a working royal, accepting taxpayer-funded money, basically, to operate in that role through to 2019. And what investigations or what the documents have so far revealed is that there is an enormous amount of misconduct in public office. That's the charge, which itself carries a maximum life imprisonment, by the way, if he's found guilty of the crimes. But basically what this means is that he acted improperly in his role as that special representative, as a member of the UK government, basically, in his relationship with Epstein through things like insider trading, corruption, what's the other one? Fraud, things like that, basically.
That kind of stuff, yeah. Financial crimes.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of things I would note on that. I think that is probably their way of pinning him on something that they can conclusively prove and get through the courts.
Yeah, I think it's a first step as well, right? Like if he's under investigation and they've charged him for these definitely more easily confirmable crimes, like there's a paper trail here that pretty clearly show him doing the things that he is charged with, that we'll get to in a second. So it's a very easy charge to pin on him, and through that, I imagine now they will be able to subpoena and investigate his records way more in detail through that process, which will hopefully shed a lot of light on any other improper behavior by Andrew. So I can see the basis for it, right? Like you've got an easy slam dunk case here, basically. Why not prosecute that and explore that angle while the harder investigation takes place on the periphery? Like it makes sense, right?
No, yeah, honestly, like I really don't think that he would have ever gotten done for these if he wasn't at the absolute hell and probably the most recognizable face in the Epstein files apart from Trump.
Yeah.
Who else do you think is more implicated in this than him and Trump? Anyone? Those are the top, yeah?
In terms of like the highest
notoriety.
Yeah, definitely it always came down to Prince Andrew and Trump, maybe Clinton and maybe Bill Gates, but even then I would say Trump's
yeah, but like the thing is like with Trump and Andrew, it's kind of like this thing of, you know, it's very much like, come on, you did it, didn't you? Don't you think?
Yeah, especially Andrew. Like Andrew, do you remember the 2019 interview with him where he talked about not being able to sweat and things like that?
That really grossed me out for some reason. I really don't like the idea of someone not being able to sweat. No offense if you don't, but you know, don't show me that. Show me something much more attractive. A fat, sweaty man. That's what I want to see.
Yeah,
he can sweat. I love that. He can
absolutely sweat. He can definitely sweat now. That's for sure. The picture's taken of his arrest. The picture's taken of his arrest where he was in the car being taken from his fancy.
Oh, it was a hot day, was it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was a hot day. It could have been a chilly day, but he was definitely feeling the pressure of being arrested because he was back in that in the seat in the van, sweating up a storm, looking all stinky.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a rough.
Okay, so that is like not
photo.
A true thing. Because I was thinking about that, right? Like, if you can't sweat, surely you just die, right? There's got to be people that can't sweat, surely. But they probably just have to walk around with an attached air conditioning unit on their backpack.
I think you are just.
Some people walk around with a piss bag.
You're a serial sweater, so I think you're just a very sweaty man.
What? So you don't sweat?
No, I sweat.
You making this Prince Andrew claim, are you?
I sweat the acceptable amount. I'm in the middle ground between you and Andrew.
Perfect. You're so good, Jackson. Look at you.
I
sweat the perfect amount.
I sweat the appropriate amount.
The appropriate.
Yeah.
All right, you're in the range. Well, look, you're not as full of yourself as I originally thought. I accept your boasting.
So, yeah, this all came from the emails that were released in that original FBI, well, not the original, the January 30th, 2026 DOJ disclosure, which released 3.5 million pages. And in it, it shows that an incredibly large amount of confidential information was shared between Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and Jeffrey Epstein while Andrew was still a working royal, as we just said. Whether or not this was all done by Prince Andrew out of fear of his secrets being divulged by Jeffrey Epstein, or whether they were done because there was a mutual benefit, basically, like he was siphoning money from the insider trading to himself as well through investments. Unknown yet. I think it's very likely that Epstein did have a lot of information about Andrew, as he did with a lot of different people. I think that's pretty clear through the photos that we've seen that he did have information on Andrew that Andrew wouldn't have want publicly aired out or released. But I also, through the emails that I've read, it seems like the relationship was extremely friendly. and also mutually beneficial, or at least that's how Prince Andrew saw it. So I don't think he was in the process of being blackmailed or anything like that, or being, encouraged to act illegally in terms of this insider trading. I think this was genuinely a mutually beneficial relationship between the two.
Just don't know what it's like to be blackmailed on that level. Do you think that there is...
You think they do it all friendly like?
Yeah, do you think that they can do it friendly like? I mean, because it's courteous and on an email, and he's British and he's from the upper class of Britain.
Oh, very good. Like I see you're blackmailing now. That's quite good, old
Jolly
chap.
Good. Yeah,
I'll see you for polo on next Wednesday. Yeah, just fucking. It's just like a little diversion, basically. It doesn't get in the way of their personal relationship. It's just a
it gets in the way of our personal relationship. It doesn't mean that it has to get in the way of our professional one.
Nah, yes, I see. Well, no, that's what I mean, though. It seemed like they definitely had more of a personal friendship, or at least that's what Andrew believed. He believed that they were close friends, which is quite funny because it definitely seemed Jeffrey Epstein's emails to me read like Epstein saw Prince Andrew as nothing more than a kind of annoying, useful idiot. That's the vibe I get. Meanwhile, Andrew,
because I do get a feeling that Prince Andrew is a useful idiot, don't you think? Like, he doesn't seem like a particularly bright, talented man. I think in many ways he is his brother's inferior.
Yeah,
I stand by as a better man than Jackson.
I thought you said I was the better man.
No, I said that you're like quite the Chad indeed.
Oh, right.
But come on, King Charles was ordained by God to look over the Commonwealth. Were you? No. You just sweat an acceptable amount. That's your claim to fame.
It's a pretty good claim. It's more than those people.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not, guidance over India, is it?
No. All right, so
it's not.
We're going to show some of these emails.
You'd fucking sweat there, wouldn't you?
We're going to show some of these emails now.
Okay.
That kind of show off the claim that is made that Andrew acted in
Holy fuck. It's okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I do just have to comment again on that photo of him in the back.
Oh, yeah. It's
so
bad.
ghoulish.
He looks like a crypt master or something.
Doesn't he?
Look, he looks all Machiavellian as well. Yeah. Look, his hands are together like he's plotting. Just run them over.
He does look
Darcy.
really ghoulish.
Yeah.
What a perfect... He couldn't be more of a perfect pinup boy for the Epstein files. But yes, we will go over the email. Sorry about that.
He looks very rattish.
Yes. Cartoonish radish as well.
Yeah, like this is a caricature.
And also, you can imagine a cartoon rat-like figure in some... like a 19th century English book just being called like Lord Mountbank, It's a perfect name.
We just, for people that are listening to this, we just read through My Immortal fan fiction, which was a Harry Potter thing for an episode, a new show we're doing called Smut Rot, which you can find at official.men. People love it. But we were reading that. This guy reminds me of, what's his name? Wormtail from fucking Harry Potter? Wormtongue? What's the fucking, the one that turns into a rat?
Yeah, what is his name? He looks exactly like him, doesn't he?
He does. He looks
exactly
one-to-one.
Who you're talking about. It's a one-to-one.
Peter Pettigrew or something, wasn't it? Pettigrew?
It's been so long since I read that. And I stopped watching the movie about the point that he was introduced. I was like,
yeah, but he looks exactly like him.
He does.
One-to-one.
It's a good call. It's a very good call.
Yeah. So... the emails between Jeffrey Epstein and Andrew that show the confidential information sharing. I have one right here that shows he forwarded basically a report that was meant for him specifically, acting in his role as trade envoy. It says, brief for His Royal Highness Duke of York, dated 19 December 2010. The title reads, Helmand High Value Commercial Opportunities for Foreign Investment. So this is information sourced through taxpayer-funded, basically government research for investment opportunities for the UK. And basically, he's taken this report and just directly forwarded it to Jeffrey Epstein.
For your viewing pleasure.
Yes, my sire.
Oh, dude, it's so perfect looking at this picture of him as well. Like, you can see that he'd be doing exactly what he's doing there with his pinched fingers, except for not worried. Kind of like a little bit fiendish and excited. Same picture.
reading some of these market facts as well. Again, this is high-value commercial opportunities for foreign investment. The long email, a report for Jeffrey Epstein, featuring extremely confidential information intended only for the United Kingdom government, that reads things like, the statistics of the world's population within 3 hours flying time of this investment area, as well as like very specific, granular, confidential information about other projects and investment properties basically within the area that the UK is interested in. And he's sending this information directly to Jeffrey Epstein, someone very prolific on Wall Street at the time, a United States citizen, a very, very wealthy individual over there, basically to use that information for personal gain for him and Prince Andrew through whatever means. So basically they're defrauding the United Kingdom's citizens. That's what royalty is. for Jeffrey Epstein. He's sending it to Jeffrey Epstein.
Unbelievable.
I mean,
first off, Epstein, you old dog. Fucking great deal. Well done. Dude, that guy really does prove that being the master of Wall Street really is. This is the whole game. Get a bunch of high-powered friends, do insider trading.
And that's all it is. It's so simple.
And they're
so cavalier about it.
They're what?
They're so cavalier about it. It's like you would think that this kind of stuff takes place in like a dimly lit parking garage at 2 a.m. and they're both in trench coats, or they send intermediaries or something that they then assassinate after the facts to cover up their insider trading. No, this is just through Gmail in a message that reads, important, forward, Southeast Asia visit reports.
Do you think that this was because boomers at the time didn't really understand that the internet worked?
Maybe. No, it's just, no, I don't think so. I think these people have been using the internet for this kind of stuff for at least like 10 years at this point. Like we've got emails dated in the 90s from these people. So, and this is from 2010. No, this is just pure comfort. The system is built for these people. We have another email here. From Amit Patel, who is was the special advisor to the Duke of York, who has sent to Prince Andrew his Southeast Asia trip reports. It says, "Sir, please find attached the visit reports for Vietnam, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Shenzhen in relation to your recent visit to Southeast Asia." Again, remember he's operating as trade envoy for the UK at the time, a special representative. So all these trip reports are in confidential meetings with these governments in Vietnam, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Shenzhen, between a representative of the UK government as trade envoy and those governments. So he's getting, obviously, on the ground understanding of what those trade deals look like between those countries and the UK. And then immediately, once he gets all these reports, which are linked here as documents, he immediately gets that email from his special advisor and forwards it immediately to Jeffrey Epstein within 5 minutes of receiving that. That is
5 minutes.
That is fucking crazy.
Dude, he's got him on the line.
That's how much sway Jeffrey Epstein had.
Yeah, God, isn't it incredible that guy was just able to network like that?
Prince Andrew gets an email full of trade-sensitive secrets, government-sensitive confidential information. He doesn't even open the documents, I assume. His first instinct within 5 minutes.
You are master.
Yeah, here you go, Epstein. Gonna come to the next party.
I've got to say, as a staunch monarchist, it is really unbecoming of the title, Mr. Andrew. It's like, come on, it's such commonest simpy. Don't you think? Just be like, here you are, me lord. That's how you're acting to him.
How mental is that? How mental is that this man, Jeffrey Epstein, had literal UK royalty acting as common serfs for him?
Servants. It really shows where the power has shifted in the 20th century, doesn't it? It's quite sad, really. Dude, the only word that I have for it is unbecoming. For shame, Mr. Andrew. And I do say, Andrew, you've been stripped of your titles and rights.
I'm mind blown by it. It is such an enormous, I don't know, it's a mind fuck to think that this investment banker from New York, who flew under the radar for 30 years, basically had every powerful person in the world under his thumb.
It's incredible, isn't it? Especially because, like, he just started off as a nobody. Like, he was really not a big deal.
This doesn't happen. Again, I'm going to fucking beat on this drum again. This doesn't happen without some kind of organizational impulse behind him. And I'm going to go the Mossad angle.
No, but I totally accept that. And I think that that's valid. But he still got to that point in the first place. He was interesting enough of them as an asset that they started cultivating him as an asset.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
And what was he before that? Like a crap university, like assistant professor or something?
Yeah.
Isn't that where he started? Mm-hmm. Really nothing. And then look at him there, just like a few years later, Prince Andrew being like, here are all the secrets of the UK, fresh to you.
It's crazy. And of course, all that information, if my angle is correct, and by the way, I'm not suicidal, if my angle is correct here and that Epstein himself is obviously acting in collaboration with Mossad, all of those trades, sensitive information between these countries, all of these investment opportunities between the countries, all of this information, confidential information between countries is being relayed through Epstein through to the Israeli government. It's something to think about.
I mean, it's a very fair assessment.
It's something to think about, given Israel's current status in the world in terms of its influence.
Well, and also there's just, ever since we did that last Israel, we just did a video about that, but we did one of Epstein's connections to Mossad, which I myself found pretty damning to begin with. Much more has come out since. And they also have the same thing of exchange emails with former Israeli prime ministers. It really feels like they're kind of orchestrating events in civil wars to financially gain from them. Like, it got to that level, you know? Like, this really was that very dark stuff of the shadowy elite that you always thought was very conspiratorial, sitting around with the Illuminati sign behind them and being like, yes, and we'll get Putin to move in on Syria. Like, that kind of shit.
It does feel like that, especially in the emails that we've seen, talking, like Jeffrey Epstein would talk about certain controversial things like that in a way that it's not quite, it's more casual, if anything. It feels like more casual conversation than like a boardroom meeting between all these world leaders, tapping their fingers together, thinking about the next civil war in sight that they can profit from or expand their influence over. It doesn't feel so much as that, more so just an email chain joking about it, if anything.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, it's so much less glamorous than the movies.
No, yeah, it's just like he's sitting in his estate, in his underwear, tapping away
on MSN.
Yeah.
What you up to, NMU? Yeah.
plotting the civil war in Syria. What about you? Shit like that. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy that they obviously, again, I'm going to go back to this as well. Like, the fact that all of this is orchestrated through emails, through servers hosted by Gmail and Google, it shows a level of just like, this is what the system is. We're not going to be caught. We're the most powerful people in the world. No one's going to rat us out. No one's going to.
I swear there was also some level of the fact that this was before the whole release your emails campaign. And I always, still to this day, you see boomers being like, hey, Mark, what are you up to? My wife died today, Phil. Oh, yeah, that's very sad. Like, they seem to just say things that shouldn't be said. Well, I reckon there's some element of that.
Are you saying it's just stupidity? Because I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's stupidity.
No,
you reckon it's just like complete and utter, all right.
Indifference.
Right. You think this like, we'll never get caught.
Exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, for sure. I completely think that because hacks aren't anything new. Information leaks aren't anything new. They've been around since the 90s. So, and these are very intelligent people who have.
Except Prince Andrew, but yeah.
No, but Epstein. I mean, you can call him many things, but he's clearly intelligent in the sense that he is
Yeah.
He knows about the world. Like, he obviously knows
he does.
a lot about information in general.
Mm.
So for him to do this through a Gmail account, I think shows that he knows that he's intouchable at this point, or untouchable.
Yes.
Anyway, we have another email here regarding an Afghanistan investment confidential brief between the Duke, which is what the email address is called. I wonder who that could be.
They call him the Duke.
Yeah, let's see if you can figure out who sends this message.
It just shows, like, we're so America-brained, aren't we? Immediately when you think Duke these days, you don't think the high
Dukes
title of Lander. You think Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah. Fuck, that's sick.
Yeah, you would like that more than the Royal Family.
Absolutely.
The Johnny Knoxville remake.
Fuck, that's awesome. Sick Mustang and
Sick Mustang and the boys.
That's their horse-drawn
other
carriage.
one name escapes me. Yeah. Dukes of Hazzard. Okay. So this was between Johnny Knoxville and Epstein. Yep.
Sure. So this email reads Helmand Investment Opportunities Brief final ... It says Jay. It's good to know that they're using code names here. I wonder who Jay is. Jay, attached is a confidential brief produced by the Provincial Reconstruction. Yeah, he used the word confidential.
Fuck.
Provincial Reconstruction Team in Helmand Province for international investment opportunities. These are not exclusive to Helmand Province, but principally focus on the province. I'm going to offer this elsewhere in my network. Remember, he's trade envoy at the moment, paid by British taxpayers to operate on the behalf of the UK government.
Unbelievable.
And he's taking this information and basically being
this is bad.
I'm offering it to you, Jeffrey Epstein, but I'm also going to offer it to people in our broader network, of course. Of course, the insinuation here is that, again, this isn't just Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein colluding and trading information. As I've said from the beginning of this episode, there's enormous evidence that everyone in the Epstein network is probably, like, this is how all rich people are. All of this 1% are. Like, they all benefit from this kind of stuff. So they all have a reason to keep it quiet. But would be very interested in your comments, views, or ideas as to whom I could also usefully show this to attract some interest. I have sadly already found out that the Gates Foundation doesn't do anything in Afghanistan. And then he signs it with A, just the letter A. I wonder who that could be. But then underneath it says HIH, the Duke of York, KG. So got it out for me. Very, 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 very helpful. Thank you, Prince Andrew, or should I say Prince A?
No, you should just say A. We don't know who it is yet. Wait for it to go if it's day in court. Fuck. Who's jumping the gun on this shit, Jackson?
So with that one, though, the Provincial Reconstruction Team in Helmand Province was basically a US and UK-led international security assistance force based in Afghanistan, which was funded by the UK, US, Danish, and Estonian governments. What this means was that Prince Andrew wasn't just selling information to a convicted sex offender. Again, this is in 2010. He has been convicted. He was convicted in 2008 for his sex trafficking or sex abuse crimes. So he is a registered sex offender at this time. The Prince Andrew was selling information that basically was it was military adjacent investment briefs, basically, with a registered sex offender of his own country that potentially put British forces in danger.
Wow, that guy doesn't give a fuck, does he?
It's crazy.
I mean, it is very interesting listening to people talking about Prince Andrew. Have you heard about him as a kid?
No, what?
Not many people have a nice word to say about him. Apparently, he said some and has done some things for the armed services, but generally, bodyguards, carers around him saw him as a completely spiraled, spoiled brat.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, they link it to the fact that Charles growing up, and it's very much actually what you can see with Harry now as well. Charles growing up had the expectation that he was going to inherit the crown and as such had to behave accordingly.
Yes,
now he's obviously got that like rambunctiousness about him, and he says outlandish things and stuff like that. But generally, was a fairly pleasant, decent dude.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure.
When it comes to Andrew, it is this thing of like spare mentality. I think that's what it comes from. With the whole point of you existing is just in case it was Charles in the car instead of Diana, you inherit the throne. But that's probably not going to happen, especially in this day and age. And so really, your entire existence, as you know, from birth, is meaningless. And on top of that, you have like a bunch of wealth behind you.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
What?
Basically, like, because he has no purpose. While Charles, for example, has purpose in that he could realistically become, the king, which he has, obviously. If someone is able or likely to become the king, they have that purpose to set them into a grounded kind of lifestyle. But when someone doesn't have purpose or lacks purpose, then the only purpose they come to find is that of a hedonistic lifestyle.
Yeah, especially when, like you're the Prince of England, you can get into like a bunch of socialite circles very easily. Also on top of that, because he was the spare, apparently Queen Elizabeth was always like felt a bit sorry for him because she knew the deal as well. She kind of understood that is the reason he's alive, and she gave birth to him. So she always was apparently laden with guilt about that. And so she used to spoil him immensely and used to shield him from a lot of shit. It's one of those things, I guess, of like people that you meet that have that sort of upbringing generally. Like, because I think that's kind of, people know people like that in their own life, right? To like lesser degrees. They do develop that sort of personality, but when you're hanging around that level of wealth and you're hanging around that circle, you become best mates with Epstein, Like it's
natural conclusion.
It's the natural conclusion to that kind of life.
Yeah, but I mean, I get your point. I don't agree with the royal glazing. I think
it's what royal glazing?
I know. I mean, you've shielded the others from it by saying that because these rich people have purpose, they are less likely to fall into relationships with Epstein. And that might be true for some of them, but I mean, we've seen many people involved in the Epstein files who have enormous purpose in their lives. Bill Gates, for example, he had a lot of purpose. He wasn't just some rich kid that fell. I don't know. He might have been a rich kid, but he had a lot of drive and purpose to his life, and he still fell in with Epstein.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. Bill Gates did other things with his life. Really, what has Prince Andrew done? Gotten like some titles as just like bullshit jobs, like special trade envoy and that kind of shit. And then he gets privy information and investments like that. Pretty much exactly what this brief is saying. He was a useful idiot. Mm-hmm. He's sort of just bred into this dumb hedonistic stupor. That seems to be his purpose, for lack of a better word.
Do you think he's aware of that? I actually don't think so. Mean? Again, I think he sees. I don't. Well, do you think that he's aware that the other people in these networks and Epstein only saw him as a useful idiot? They only saw him for his use as trade envoy, as prince, and didn't see him. Like, do you think he was understanding of his role?
I reckon that's going to become quite apparent in the court case. Don't you reckon?
What do you mean?
Like as you're saying from these emails. Well, like if you can gather that, maybe, I mean, obviously, probably, yeah.
I think a lot of us will see that, but I'm asking, do you think he did?
Not at the time, I'm imagining, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Dude, I'm imagining that Jeffrey Epstein was abnormally socially intelligent. I mean, I watched some 4-hour interview that he did with Bannon. And, the guy can string a sentence together very well, can speak on like a wide range of topics. And even when he's talking about like his sex offenses, which he's directly asked about, he's able to kind of just like say it in a way where he acknowledges that it's there, but also kind of just be like, but it's not that bad. And obviously, when we're just doing the usual, who was the guy that we did from TikTok again that did the
bidet?
The bidet. You know how we're always just talking about like the way to excuse yourself out when you're caught, and like what the best way to excuse yourself is. And the bidet handled it really bad. Like, you listen to Jeffrey Epstein's rendition of it, and you're like, that's fucking how you handle it. You know, that guy is a very good, smooth talker. I don't think that he would have like treated Andrew as a pet. I think he would have made him feel very special, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't come through in emails, but I'm assuming that there were many years here where they were, you know, frequently partying together and attending social events together where that kind of cultivation likely happened. But through emails, at least during the 2010s and stuff, it's pretty abundantly clear that Epstein only sees him as a source of information and just goes along with the act, basically.
Yeah. Like, it really feels like that. But like, it's very simpy, especially that last email where it's just like, my lord, I've got news from Asia. Like running to him.
Yeah, within 5 minutes. We have another email here from Prince Andrew to Jeffrey Epstein. It says the title is about basically the United Arab Emirates, basically connecting. How's this? All right, so Prince Andrew was acting as an intermediary to connect Jeffrey Epstein with the UAE, the United Arab Emirates foreign minister. So he was acting as a conduit and a relationship builder between Jeffrey Epstein and other powerful people. So this is how the network was expanding. And Jeffrey Epstein was growing his influence even in the 2010s, right? Meeting new people, especially in the exploding. Well, exploding is a really bad word to use in this context. The region that was going through an enormous amount of growth in the UAE and those kind of Middle East oil-rich territories. So he was expanding his reach there. The email from the Duke to Jeffrey Epstein basically says
the Duke.
The other way around. Jeffrey Epstein to the Duke says, I would suggest you telling Abdullah, which is the foreign minister. So basically what this email is, he's teaching or instructing, he's instructing Prince Andrew on how to approach talking to this foreign minister to build the relationship for Jeffrey Epstein, instructing him how to build that connection for Epstein. And he says, I would suggest you telling the foreign minister, number 1, trust. Number 2, financial expertise. Number 3, funder of extreme science, in parentheses, way out there. And number 4, fun. So basically, these are Jeffrey Epstein's main selling points that I want you, Prince Andrew, to relay to this foreign minister to bring him over onto my side, to get him interested in the product of Jeffrey Epstein.
He does his bidding.
Wow. Yes. What's important here, though? Number 1, trust, i.e., I can keep secrets.
You can trust me.
I can keep secrets. Number 2, financial expertise, i.e., I have a lot of money. I handle a lot of money, a lot of high network individuals. 3, funder of extreme science. I have no clue what that means, and I'm a bit apprehensive about even trying to figure out what that means or why it's number 3 on this list of why you should hang out with me. It's a weird sentence. I don't like that one.
I think it's just because he likes it. I think that's it. Surely, like, dude, some fucking trade shake or whatever is not going to be that interested in that.
I don't know. Number 4,
yeah.
Number 4 is fun, which is obviously if you hang around with me, there's going to be lots of parties. You're going to be able to live a very, again, overuse of this word, but a very hedonistic lifestyle with Jeffrey Epstein. So that's his main selling points. And we see that in how he acted with all of these wealthy, powerful people. It was always glamorous parties, models, and he was a purveyor of all of those illegal things that these people do because, of course, he then uses that. So this is just confirmation, right, that Epstein operated a large-scale network of powerful people that he had information on and was relaying confidential information to and from, and also putting them or allowing them into situations, providing them situations where illegal actions would would be encouraged, basically, in the term of fun, to then receive information about them, to blackmail them and such. I think it's pretty clear. Like Jeffrey Epstein himself is telling him right here,
this is how you do it.
Yeah, this is how you do it. This is my playbook. Trust, you can trust me. I'll keep your secrets. We're all friends. This is a closed network.
The science one is the only weird one on it, honestly. But yeah, go on.
I mean, fun in the sense of Jeffrey Epstein and all these powerful peoples. I do take in an insidious kind of connotation as well. I don't think it would have been presented that way, but the insinuation is, hang out with Jeffrey Epstein. He has some fucking wild parties on his island that you won't want to miss.
Yeah, okay. No, but like, it's not surprising that he makes that one of his calls. The weird one is, I fund strange science.
Yeah,
what
I like
happens
Tesla
after
coils.
Death? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
yeah. The thing that he seemed to be really interested in terms of funding science is like the area that he kept being like magic. What is going on there? We don't know. It was very quite eccentric billionaire thing, kind of like, what do you give a man who has everything? Why you give him the future? Kind of shit. Yeah. No.
What's interesting about this email, obviously it's referring to Prince Andrew making contact with the UAE foreign minister. Andrew, I found out through a little bit of research, spoke with the UAE foreign affairs minister Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan about a meeting with Epstein, and this meeting with the Sheikh took place while on an official UK state visit to the United Arab Emirates with the Queen and Prince Philip in 2010. So not only is he sharing confidential information, but he's conducting business on Jeffrey Epstein's behalf while on sponsored state visits to these foreign countries in the pursuit of advancing UK interests. So, I mean...
it's straight up just being a double agent, really.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually... I honestly do regard this as treason, really.
This is absolutely treason. And if
it's absolutely treason.
If the UK was a serious country... you would... Okay, I'm not going to go that far. I was going to go pretty far then. You should jail him for life. Okay? Because this stuff is not good for your country or your people.
It's really not.
No.
It's really, really not.
But again, I don't think this is exclusive to the UK. Clearly. And we know this for sure because... Let me just find this. The first arrest in the Epstein case, well, outside of Epstein and Gislaine Maxwell, was earlier this month when former Norwegian Prime Minister Thorbjorn Jagland was charged with aggravated corruption as well. Much the same kind of evidentiary basis for this case, for the charges against Prince Andrew.
Yes,
so that's another country's leader implicated, pretty directly implicated and charged, meaning they have compelling evidence. I haven't looked into that one yet too much, but I'm assuming I would find plenty emails matching the same kind of confidential information sharing and using state-sponsored visits to conduct business for Epstein, basically, in those countries. So, man, I think most countries are going to have this. I think most countries in the Western sphere of influence. I think Australia is probably going to have this. I think the US, Canada, all of these countries are going to have individuals within their governments who are basically operating as double agents for Epstein. And as I've said, a double agent for Epstein is himself a double agent for Israel, I think. So...
I mean, yeah, if you've got them in Norway, you're going to have them in other countries. Norway's pretty out of the picture, isn't it?
He's clearly... I said this from the very beginning of this, from the very beginning, that you're going to see every single country involved with Epstein in this way. Like, it's not... You don't just go to Prince Andrew. That's not your first step on the rung.
Yeah,
it's
it really
literal
is your first
royalty.
port of call. Yeah. And
No.
it's really like that really was that man's hobby in life, wasn't it? It was collecting people.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd probably just get to a weird eccentric point and being like, oh, yeah, I've got one in Fiji too. And yeah, anyway.
Yeah, it was like Pokemon for rich people.
Pokemon for rich people.
Pokemon for pedophiles, which is an even more terrifying angle.
Pokemon for pedophiles, and man, he caught them all, didn't he? Fuck.
No, again, I don't know if. Again, I think it's a scary percentage of people that are, in this case are probably pedophiles and are incriminated in the same way as Prince Andrew. But again, I think like most of the crimes you're going to see connected to Epstein are these, what you said, basically treason. I think this comes down to treason. Honestly, it is.
No, yeah, definitely, absolutely.
Financial crimes bordering on treason.
Financial crimes bordering on treason is a very good summary of it.
So we have another email here to do with David Stern, who is a figure we'll talk about later on. But basically, this was an email from Andrew to a UAE investment banker, United Arab Emirates investment banker, who then sent it to David Stern, who is Andrew's basically liaison, who then sent it to Jeffrey Epstein. And what this email is, it's an enormous email basically about the Royal Bank of Scotland, which was going through, it was obviously after 2008, was going through a bunch of issues. It was majority owned by British taxpayers at the time, following a $45 billion pound bailout in 2008 by British taxpayers. And basically, the Duke of York, Prince Andrew, was relaying information about the inside confidential information about RBS, the Royal Bank of Scotland, all of the information about that for then Epstein to act on and act against, basically relaying information that Stephen Hester, who was the head of retail banking, basically like his insider thoughts and things about RBS were only privy to RBS. Like this is all, and again, this is ostensibly a British taxpayer owned, majority owned institution.
Wow.
That's treason. It's straight up treason.
No, it is. It is.
So
wow, there's really cut and dry cases of this too.
And again, it's not just Jeffrey Epstein.
What else as well? Like,
look at the network here, though. This is a chain that went through four different names. Terrence Allen, a UAE investment banker, not even a fucking big name. I couldn't even find that much information about this guy, but he's involved in this network. He's an investment banker in the United Arab Emirates, or that's where he was at the time. David Stern, who we'll talk about soon, and then to Jeffrey Epstein. And this is just this micro network. I'm assuming that Jeffrey Epstein had hundreds of these across a bunch of different people in a bunch of different countries, right? That's how it would have operated.
Yeah, totally.
And so, yeah, he was giving information about RBS. There's also significance here about Aston Martin. Conflict. He described conflict between internal parties, issues with management and the relationship with the owner and state of Kuwait, giving more information about even Aston Martin. Everything was on the table for insider trading here. And we come to David Stern, who was, again, Andrew's liaison, who himself has emails directly to Jeffrey Epstein. What's interesting is that this guy, David Stern, basically acted as a go-between between the two figures, Andrew and Epstein, where he would forward information from Andrew to Epstein. Interestingly enough, though, David Stern's association with Prince Andrew, began in 2010 when Andrew's wife, Sarah Ferguson, then the Duchess of York, said in an email to an unknown recipient that Epstein had introduced her to Stern and that Stern had come to the Royal Lodge in Windsor for dinner. So in that sense, right, David Stern is obviously an asset of Jeffrey Epstein that Epstein had used in conjunction with Andrew. So this figure, who was basically employed as Prince Andrew's aide or liaison, was actually himself an agent of Jeffrey Epstein. And Jeffrey Epstein had facilitated that connection in the first place.
Wow.
So,
fuck, this goes deep, man. This is like, this Prince Andrew's files is much more interesting than what I thought it would be, which was him being like, I don't swear, I don't. And then it turns out that he doesn't. You know, like, it's way better. This
is espionage.
It's espionage is high level stuff.
So basically, there's an email here from David Stern to Jeffrey Epstein. It reads, quote, and again, remember, this is someone who Jeffrey Epstein has basically used as an agent. He's made the connection to Prince Andrew. He said, all right, you, my underling, you're working for Prince Andrew now. You're basically reporting on the behavior or the activities of Prince Andrew back to me. Make sure that whole connection goes well for me, basically. So this message from David Stern reads to Jeffrey Epstein, quote, "Totally remote idea for your consideration based on your liking of private wealth management. We set up a small investment, highly private office in London with small outposts in Beijing for high net worth individuals targeting Chinese, but not exclusively, that works like an extended family office. We very discreetly make PA, again, PA, they like to use acronyms, but doesn't really stand the test of time once we know who PA is, Prince Andrew. We very discreetly make PA part of it and use his, quote, aura and access, end quote. You make/decide on the investments and I manage the day-to-day operations / Chinese client management and acquisition, ... So basically, what we said, useful idiot, right?
Useful idiot.
This isn't even a conversation. This isn't even a conversation with Prince Andrew. And Prince Andrew doesn't know about this conversation at this point. No. And already his own aide is talking to his handler, Jeffrey Epstein, about, hey, here's an idea. Let's use PA, Prince Andrew, a fucking prince, a sitting prince of the UK. Let's utilize him for his aura and access, basically, for this other venture. I'm in a prime position to do so. Yeah. It's conspiring against someone who was even in the network, was already sending confidential information. Still, they're conspiring about him, even in these emails. His own aide. It's crazy.
Isn't it fucking incredible? Isn't it incredible?
And at the very
true palatial intrigue stuff.
Not at the very top of this, but above all of these people was Jeffrey Epstein. All the red lines lead back to Epstein. And again, I'm gonna say it again. I think there's one more red line heading straight over to Israel. Yeah, but it's crazy, right?
It's so much more than I expected. I honestly, Jackson, I think this is the most interesting episode that we've done on Epstein so far. Hands down. I think that everything else has been quite, plausible deniability here, plausible deniability there. And, I do, a lot of the time, I think, try and play devil's advocate for them. And this one is just like...
It's slam dunk.
It's there. It's there. Like, what do you say to that?
Nothing. I mean, it's pretty clear.
There's really nothing to say with this one. And on top of it, I think that this actually has huge implications for the world.
Well, what you said just then about how you like to play, or you intend to play devil's advocate, just to, I assume, to apply a bit of nuance to the situation, because that's always important when discussing serious things, is to, factor in all of the information. So nuance is important. But I think what this does, in how slam dunk this is it also just leads, what's the word I'm looking for? Leads credence? Is that the right word? It basically kind of validates all of the other claims as well, that Epstein was running a giant network full of blackmail, intrigue, collusion, confidential information. All of this is provable in the Prince Andrew case.
In the emails. So
if that's the case, then all of the rest of the claims against Epstein and the network and all the powerful people linked to it honestly become a whole lot more credible, especially if governments themselves are starting to have to charge these people with the crimes. It's that overwhelming. So again,
look, I don't really like the chances in the United States under the current administration, but yeah, I think that there is going to be a point where you're going to have to. But this, Jackson, give me credit for this. I don't know if I said this publicly before, but I was talking to somebody and their theory on why the Epstein case...
I remember this one. Yeah.
So what do you think about that now?
Well, you tell the audience, of course.
No. You guys follow the clues. I gave you one. You go back and listen to 6 hours.
No, I think that was just us talking off air, by the way. You've never... So you're going to send them listening to 6 hours of content. It's not even going to be in there. You're such a mean man. Tell them.
That's what I wanted you to do. Look, here's pretty much the gist of it. I was talking to somebody and I was saying, why don't you think that any previous US administration had done anything about Epstein? And their theory was they looked into it and they realized if we start prosecuting people for this network, this will bring down the entire global economy. Thoughts?
I mean, if a country or a global community had the balls, I don't think it's an insurmountable problem if these people are held accountable. In fact, I mean, the heads of companies and stuff, couldn't you just insert someone else into the company and also use your jurisdictional abilities or your legal abilities to basically... I mean, if this is such a widespread network, I think the global community needs to come together and basically be like, well, all of your money is now returning to the state, basically, or to the people. This could be an opportunity. It's not going to be. This is so fucking naive. I can't believe I'm saying this. But if the government's had balls, this could be an opportunity for a reverse wealth transfer, basically, from these ill-begotten gains to return to from whence they came. So it could be. No,
I think it's okay. All right. Look, yes, you're thinking about it in terms of personal wealth and freezing over assets. The problem is when you start freezing over those assets, when you start picking all of these people out and you're left with the strip bare of it, again, what they're talking about here, really, especially because it's on such a global scale, Prince Andrew is directly discussing this when it comes to Afghanistan. You're talking about building nations. You're talking about infrastructure. This is a very important point when it comes to finance, which is I always found it so boring until somebody explained to me that this is the architecture that builds the world. Once you decide to finance a product, but you don't decide to finance, infrastructure project, but you decide to fund another one, that is building the world. If you're doing that on such a grand scale, because I am honestly thinking that this is going to, you would probably be light if you're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars. Like this could very easily go into trillions. If you're at this level and you're talking about that much capital and investment.
I mean, just in this one specific case.
Little piece.
Just one specific case, like they're talking about the RBS, which itself is worth like, well, they were talking about like funds up to like 40 billion.
Yeah. So, I mean, hundreds of billions of dollars is going to be like a very, very small underestimate, right? Like, this will be a lot of money and it will be funding a lot of very, very globally significant programs. I actually think that it's actually got some credence to it.
That's why.
Now that I'm reading this, I mean, I was kind of thinking about it before and I thought, you know what, from what I understand about politics, that does make sense. I mean, the very small example that I gave, for instance, was with Trump, and the banks gave him so much money to set up all of his casinos, and then they realized, oh my God, these are terrible investments. But then they got Trump in and said, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep funding your lifestyle to make it look like you're a very rich, successful guy, because this is the only way we're ever going to recoup our assets, ever. You know, like there is that too big to fail thing that happens at some point.
Well, I don't think that's what your example is, though, or what your point is.
No, it's not. But I'm saying that there is like a certain point when you get to a certain level of money, when you get to a certain level of infrastructure, that rules start becoming like, you know, you're weighing up very big globally significant
I was going to say, your point is basically like it's not too big to fail. Now it's too big. That failure means global collapse.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like reading these emails now, this is why I'm actually really fascinated.
Is there
with this
still a way
one?
to hold these people accountable, punish them basically? Like, surely the money can stay where it is or whatever. Surely we can go, you know what? Sure, it's happened. The money now needs to stay in those investments, the infrastructure projects, etc. All the way the world is constructed basically needs to stay the same. But the people responsible for putting the world in that place should still be punished. Like they should still be individually, jailed. Like I don't see how that would lead to lead to financial collapse.
Perhaps the other alternative to that is, okay, you're talking about sheikhs, and you're talking about people connected to royal families in the Middle East. Well, if you're going to take the moral route and not invest in their infrastructure, because that's what you would be saying there. It's like essentially this thing of like, well, we can't arrest them because they're their own sovereign state. But because you've committed these crimes, we're just going to put these sanctions on you or whatever. Well, you can't do that. And so you're just going to have to do deals with them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's
so many.
Sure.
This is what's really interesting. Like, dude, like when you get to this level, like this is what I'm saying. Like, what is in these emails is so much bigger than anything else that has come out in the Epstein thing, I reckon, so far. Honestly, really big shit.
There's obviously going to be many. We're talking about so many different situations, or so many different examples here of how widespread this network is and how widespread Epstein's involvement in all of these different things is, that you can't, like, the example that you use with the UAE sheikhs there is a good example. Like, we would have no way of enforcing any Western laws against them, of course. And we couldn't pull out investments from there, even if we necessarily wanted to. So sure. But again, I still think the global, let's say Western community with governments should be looking at this as an example to replenish confidence, let's say, in the institutions, in the organizational aspects of our Western society. If they had the balls, they should be cleaning house at this point, even if it involves doing some very, very drastic, very, very uncomfortable things, admitting some very uncomfortable things. I think they should. I think that it would be the only just course of action. And there has to be a way to do that. That doesn't necessarily mean that it would lead to a global collapse. I think that there must be a way to do that.
Look, maybe. I mean, you get rid of Prince Andrew, for instance. It's not going to fucking do much. No. I think that it's very much the same thing with a lot of these political figures. Like, man, if you just got rid of Trump, like the band marches on. It'll be a lot less entertaining, but it'll keep marching on.
Yeah, I think the individuals can be punished, like, without necessarily obstructing what they had built in terms of international stability.
I'm sure that you can punish a lot of individuals without it having any impact on it at all.
But you're still saying that the reason why they haven't explored this in the first place was because of the danger of a collapse happening.
I think it's definitely a distinct possibility, because this is the other thing, right? Like,
I still think it's way more likely that it's just there's too many people implicated across too many different ways of life, say political leanings, that it doesn't, like, there was no thirst for them to really, explore it, because it meant too many people on their own side being ostracized and punished, and too embarrassing for them as well. So it was kind of like just an accepted, all people in the 1% are like this, basically, no matter what way we lean or say that we lean, we all accept that we're like this. Let's just keep it on the hush hush and continue doing insider trading with each other regardless of our leanings. Like, and I think that's why they chose to preserve the secrecy of it.
Look, honestly, like, this is the whole thing about, like, how murky the world is. What you're saying is absolutely plausible. Totally. But this is what's so interesting about this email, or like these series of emails. I think that it opens up both possibilities. And that's why I'm very interested in, like, this story now. You know what I mean? Like, but like, you can read these emails exactly like those ways. You can read them in both ways. This is huge financial decisions that are getting discussed here. And it is also the elite 1% just completely thumbing their nose at rules and order.
Do you think that's why it did come out then? Because obviously Trump is that, like, a normal politician, let's say, and we've said this before, like a Biden or a whatever the normal Republican
yeah, like a Mitt Romney or something. Yeah.
They would understand that, well, we all the 1% do it. This is going to lead to more trouble for, global stability than is probably necessarily worth it. I disagree with that, but that's what a politician would say. So, let sleeping dogs lie. Let's just bury this and move on. Whereas Trump, even though he's involved in this, is part of that 1% where he himself is like, he's thinking, probably like Prince Andrew is thinking, and like Jeffrey Epstein is thinking in these emails, well, I'm too big to fail. I'm too, I'm too confident that nothing is going to ever happen to me. Let's fucking campaign on this because it's fucking publicity gold, and then just ignore it once we're actually in office, basically. Why not? So that's why he was totally fine with using it as a weapon pre his presidency, his second term, because he was fully confident that nothing was ever going to happen. And he's even probably still confident that he can release all of this information, now more so because he's controlling the information flow. But he's totally fine with all this happening because he knows that he's untouchable, or he's confident that he's untouchable. And that's the only reason why we're talking about this now, is because it wasn't a politician, basically, in charge of the information flow at this point.
Yeah, I mean, look, honestly, his whole guidance has always just been like, what's going to grab a headline? What's going to get a bunch of attention? And, talking about some pedophile elite cult that needs to be exposed is obviously going to grab headlines. And this is very much part of, this is open as well. That was very much part of Bannon's electoral strategy, which is engage the conspiracy nuts. And it turned out that the conspiracy nuts were right on this one. But, generally, it was just, these are the conspiracies that do well online. Let's feed them a little bit of bait, all of them. Yeah? So that was really the path forward electorally for Trump, especially in 2016. If he didn't do that, he didn't really have much of a path. So it was kind of just like, do you want to be president or not? There was a bit of that element to it. I think another one is that Trump probably thinks in his mind what he says all the time, which is that he's the greatest man that's ever lived and has never done anything wrong.
Yeah, I think
he probably thinks that too.
He'd be looking at all these emails between Prince Andrew and Epstein and going, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, actually, because that would be his... He does very much have a view of the world. And this is something else that, like, he's kind of just known for, is, like, his view of the world and his view of how politics works is very much shaped in, like, 70s New York. And obviously 70s New York was going to be filled with, like, crime, corruption, dirty dealings, wheeling and dealing, oil. Like, so, yeah, he would look at emails like that and just be like, what's the problem?
That's business, baby.
That's business, baby. Yeah. That's how he'd see it, for sure. Yeah, I think you're right on that, Jackson.
So to continue on with this, Gislaine Maxwell also... There's emails between her and Andrew, who his email name in this situation is the Invisible Man. I fucking hate this. I hate that he calls it.
Why?
The Invisible Man. That's his email name, basically.
Why, do you hate it because it's cringe?
I hate it because it's cringe. It's a rich prince laughing as like some
I know.
007 agent.
Yeah.
Invisible Man.
Very cool.
So an email from him to Gislaine in 2001 reads, I am up here at Balmoral summer camp for the royal family. Activities take place all day. I'm totally exhausted at the end of each day. The girls are completely shattered and I will have to give them an early night today as it is getting tiring, splitting them up all the time. How's LA? Have you found me some new inappropriate friends? ? Let me know when you are coming over, as I am free from 25th of August until 2nd of September. And want to go somewhere hot and sunny with fun people before having to put my nose firmly to the grindstone for the fall. Any ideas gratefully received. See ya, Prince Andrew XXX. So in that email, he clearly talks about inappropriate friends, whatever that might mean. It could mean just friends to party with, or as is suggested, it could also mean inappropriate friends that Epstein is known to procure, which would be children. So Depends. So basically, there's a lot of additional emails here between Prince Andrew and Gislaine that speak about this kind of inappropriate relationship. There's another one from Andrew here to Gislaine that says, "Distraught, you probably wouldn't know, but I lost my valet on Thursday. He died in his sleep. He had been with me since I was 2. I am a little off balance as not only has my office been restructured, I have left the Royal Navy and now my whole life is in turmoil as I have no one to look after me. He was a real rock and almost a part of the family." Not a part of the family, almost.
That's so good. Because people usually just say as an expression, he was a part of the family. And they're talking about their neighbor. But this guy, like, hand raised him.
Yeah. My valet.
Not really, though. Not really.
Yeah, of course not. It's just a saying, Gislaine.
Close enough.
I've heard regular people say it. It almost sounded good.
And also, it is just weird that, like, I don't know, he's probably, a 40-year-old man at this point.
Talking about how he has no one to look after him.
Change my nappy.
Yeah. I know. It's so... this is like cliche rich person. Like royalty, basically. Like what you imagine.
Yeah.
You're like, no, this can't be how they actually are. That's way too cartoonish. And yet here, Prince Andrew
and here it is.
I have no one to look after me. My valet died. Diddums. It's crazy. Another email from Gislaine has been found to someone in Peru, identified as Juan Esteban Ganoza, and it says, quote, "I just gave Andrew your telephone number. He is interested in seeing the Nazca lines. He can ride it, but it is not his favorite sport, i.e. pass on the horses. Some sightseeing, some two-legged sightseeing," and then in quotes, "read intelligent, pretty fun, and from good families," end quote. "And he will be very happy. I know I can rely on you to show him a wonderful time and that you will only introduce him to friends that you can trust and rely on to be friendly and discreet and fun. He does not want to read about any trip in the papers, whom or what he saw." So basically, she's like, Gislaine is acting as a tour agent basically for Prince Andrew to go to Peru and meet up with this man, Juan Esteban Ganoza, who will then himself introduce Prince Andrew to two-legged sightseeing, which is obviously women and things like that, sex parties and such. So again, like there's so much evidence here that these sex parties and these sex connections between these rich people are 100% true. Like this is what they did. They hooked each other up with sex connections.
Sex connections.
And again, if all of this is true,
adventures.
All of these outlandish, crazy conspiracies are true, that the global elite is all connected in giant financial schemes to benefit themselves through illegal actions, and there's these enormous sex parties between only wealthy elite doing illegal things. If all of this is true, how can you expect me to not believe that the rest of the claims about Epstein and his network and his connections regarding Trump and people like that, and the illegal nature of sex trafficking between wealthy elite people is also not true? It's obviously all true.
It's interesting because it does go beyond the conspiracies originally. This is one of those. Well, actually, it's very common, really. Like that, I really do live by the creed that truth is stranger than fiction, as in the conspiracy theories about the Epstein connections. I think honestly, just don't do them service to the reality.
Mm-hmm. No.
So it's really going to be like, how deep does it go?
All right. So
it's just beyond imagination.
To wrap this up, we've spoken a lot about all the most important emails between Prince Andrew and Gislaine and also Epstein. Let's take a look back at the BBC Newsnight interview with Emily Matlas and Prince Andrew to see how that has stood the test of time. All right, so let's catch ourselves up on what Andrew's claims were during that BBC interview back in 2019 to see how they've stood the test of time. Clip number 1.
Well, I ceased contact with him after I was aware that he was under investigation. And that was later on in 2006. And I wasn't in touch with him again until 2010. So it was one of those things that if somebody's going through that sort of thing, well, I'm terribly sorry, I can't be
So no contact?
No contact.
When he was serving time, there was no call, no letter, nothing there?
No.
Okay, so that's claim number one. Clip number two, just going to listen to this one real quick as well.
And I took the judgment call that because this was serious, and I felt that doing it over the telephone was the chicken's way of doing it. I had to go and see him and talk to him.
That was December of 2010.
Yep.
He threw a party to celebrate his release, and you were invited as the guest of honour.
Oh, in 2010? That certainly wasn't a party to celebrate his release in December, because it was a small dinner party. There were only 8 or 10 of us, I think, at the dinner. If there was a party, then I'd know nothing about that.
You were
invited
Is that not a party?
To
that dinner as a guest of honour?
Well, I was there, so there was a dinner. I don't think it was quite as you might put it, but yeah, okay. I was there at a dinner. Yeah.
Okay, so wait. He's saying he's explaining why he went and met up with Epstein in 2010, 4 years after he was convicted of being a sex offender, and his claim here is basically, well, I went there because I didn't want to break up with him over the telephone. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to call him up and go, oh, Jeffrey, I simply can't be friends with you anymore, Jeffrey. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go there in person and give him the bad news in person.
At a dinner party.
But he was there for several days at a dinner party as well.
Because it was a small dinner party. There were only 8 or 10 of us, I think, at the dinner. If there was a party, then I'd know nothing about that.
You were invited to that dinner as a guest of honour?
Well, I was there, so there was a dinner. I don't think it was quite as you might put it, but yeah, okay. I was there at a dinner. Yeah. I'm
just trying to work this out, because you said you went to break up the relationship, and yet you stayed at that New York mansion several days. I'm wondering how long.
But I was doing a number of other things while I was there.
But you were staying at the house of a convicted sex offender.
It was a convenient place to stay.
Yeah, okay, all right. He's getting into that bidet territory, isn't he?
So it doesn't even stand the test of time when you look at it in the 2019 interview alone, okay?
No, it doesn't.
The claims there do not, they looked bad then, all right? But now, let's have a look at the main claim then, that he cut off Epstein in December 2010, all right? That's his claim. Well, no, he didn't. Well, in fact, he said that, they had no contact, and the only time he had contact was when he went to Epstein to break up with him in person in 2010. That's what his claim really is. And no, obviously not. In fact, from the emails that we've just read through this entire episode, in fact, he was doing business with Epstein throughout the majority of 2010. And even he was still relaying information through, what was his name? Through Stern in 2011. Which showed Andrew discussing business ventures with Epstein. And beyond that, there's an email dated in 2011 from Andrew to Jeffrey that discusses a favor from Jeffrey, where Andrew says, quote, "Fantastic. Thank you so much for sorting this last thing out for me. I now look forward to telling him, Censored, and so Censored can get on. Just going into my annual retreat for the next 8 days, Jeff. This week is all about me. For 1 week of the year, it's great. Time to put something back into me before the rest of the world starts sucking it out in all their greed and demands. Have a great day, Andrew." End quote. And this is from the following year. So he's claimed that does this sound like a person who hasn't spoken to Jeffrey Epstein in 4 years since he was jailed in 2000, since he was convicted in 2006, and he had only gone there to break up with him in person once? No, this sounds like they had an ongoing relationship throughout that entire time period.
Jackson, I'm very proud of you just then. You set that up like quite the professional barrister there. That was a very good reveal. Yeah, it was damning enough, you're right, but you really can't read that as we were long lost friends. Thought that I had to break it to him. It's just not there, is it? It's just not there.
This is obviously a friendship that persisted throughout the conviction and also into most of 2010. Again, he said that they didn't have any conversations between 2010 when we have copious amounts of information not only showing a professional and personal relationship between Andrew and Epstein, but also a relationship built off confidential information sharing. Potentially the closest thing one person can do with another person, in fact.
Yeah.
All right, we come to the next claim where Prince Andrew claims
presence.
So you're absolutely sure that you're at home on the 10th of March.
Yeah.
She was very specific about that night. Mm-hmm. She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have bath, possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition.
God-ordained gift.
Sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time, and that was yes, I didn't sweat at the time because I had suffered what I would describe as an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when I was shot at. And I simply, it was almost impossible for me to sweat. And it's only because I have done a number of things in the recent past that I'm starting to be able to do that again. So I'm afraid
he's gone through sweat rehabilitation. I missed that the first time.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to say. That's going to be quite famous. I think that'll be one of those big lines in human history, like Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. So he's claimed that he obviously is incapable of sweating, or was incapable of sweating at the time, has been, continuously disproven throughout. It's not an important claim, but it just shows that he's willingness to lie over very, very unimportant things to lie about, honestly. There's a picture here of him standing over, or squatting over, what looks to be a young girl. Meanwhile, he is drenched in sweat at the time. Even recently, him in the back of the police car while he's being arrested, drenched in sweat. And then this photo of him around the same period of time, basically covered. He looks like he's 80% water at that period. Like he's covered in a copious amount of sweat.
He does put me to shame, I've got to say. I'm a very sweaty man. But
yeah, you are. This guy's taking it to the next level.
Stop rubbing it in, Jackson?
I'm not rubbing your sweat in. And I wish you would stop asking me to.
You wish you would. No, you're just playing on for the cameras. That's fine.
We come to the most important lie from Prince Andrew about him, the situation with Virginia Giuffre never happening. And if you don't know, Virginia Giuffre is basically the main victim, not the main victim, the main accusatory claim made by someone against Prince Andrew. She claimed that while she was 17, Prince Andrew had raped her, basically. So here's a clip.
Then perhaps we might be able to solve it, but I can't.
You can say categorically that you don't recall meeting Virginia Roberts, dining with her, dancing with her at Tramp, or going on to have sex with her in a bedroom in a house in Belgravia.
I can absolutely categorically tell you it never happened.
Do you recall any kind of sexual contact with Virginia Roberts then or any other time?
None whatsoever.
Okay. So he categorically denies having any kind of inappropriate behavior with Virginia Giuffre. So what does the Epstein files tell us? In fact, no, obviously, we've got the photograph evidence of Prince Andrew with Virginia Giuffre, with Gislaine Maxwell in the background, of course, as she is in most of the photos. So obviously they had met. His hand is pretty low down on her waist here, inappropriately so. There is also an email from Thomas Landon to Epstein where he says, quote, "I think the big issue is separating yourself from Andrew. I mean, I can see why a statement might help in some way, but it's Andrew, not Clinton and the rest, that is keeping the story alive. Until you are able to come forward and address that, the story lives on. I mean, in the end, he had consensual sex with VR being Virginia Roberts, which is Virginia Giuffre's maiden name. So Virginia Roberts, Virginia Giuffre, interchangeable. And Virginia Roberts worked for you. The rest is atmospherics. You have moved on. People don't know that and can't accept that unless you say as much." So basically, here is tacit admission from Epstein's inside circle about the fact that Andrew had sex with Virginia Roberts / Virginia Giuffre. So again, Virginia's claims proven. Like it's obviously all true. All of Virginia's claims are true. So this means that Andrew had sex, raped an underage girl. So directly contradicts Andrew's "it never happened" statement. 100%. It's proven.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's about all of the information I really want to dive into about Prince Andrew in this episode. There is a lot more information, but
there really is. I'm just going through it now.
There's a lot, but I think that's all of the most important things. So there's another element in a biography of Andrew entitled "The Rise and Fall of the House of York" by Andrew Lowney. It was also revealed or claimed that compromising material on Andrew may allegedly have been passed to Israel's Mossad Secret Service, Saudi Arabian authorities, and Muammar Gaddafi's Libyan intelligence services by Epstein. So again, and Andrew Lowney is a pretty credible source as well.
That's I think that from everything that I've heard, at the very least, it's a very thoroughly researched book. But yes,
yeah. So he's basically like a royal biographer.
Yes.
But yeah, so this is again confirmation as to what I was saying before, that Epstein himself was working with intelligence agencies, namely Mossad. So again, all of this information, all of this confidential information, state secrets, and institutional confidential information was being passed through Epstein from Andrew, Prince Andrew, and a bunch of other heads of states, all the way on through to Mossad. I think that's pretty clear. As well as potentially others that Epstein sold to. So that's all the information that I want to really dive into on Prince Andrew in this episode. It's already a pretty long episode, but I think fundamentally, right, we've pretty conclusively nailed down that Prince Andrew may very well just be the first powerful figure to
domino
topple.
To fall.
Exactly. And I think you're going to see a lot of this, a lot more stuff, hopefully, like this happening in the future with powerful individuals being held accountable. Another person, this is breaking news, happened in the last 12 hours. Another person, Lord Peter Mendelson, was also arrested earlier today on, February 24th, for the same exact crimes. So again,
it's a network.
Another lord was arrested for the same exact sharing of confidential information. And what's interesting about this is that he was a major figure in the Labour Party in the United Kingdom from the 1980s, and he played an important role in Sir Tony Blair's election victory in 1997, and he was most recently appointed as the UK's ambassador to Washington in December of 2024. However, he was fired last September for his appearance in the released Epstein files, and then arrested earlier today. Arrested for the same reasons, mind you. He was previously a Labour MP from 1992 to 2004. He was Secretary of State for Trade and Industry in 1998, the European Commissioner for Trade from 2004 to 2008. Now, I don't know much about Europe, but the European Commissioner for Trade sounds like a pretty big deal to me. And the Secretary of State for Business and Innovation in 2008 and 2010. And this was
he was hiding. So those are big titles, especially because, it's the UK.
Well, not just that.
That is your China.
Yes, but
that's who he traded with.
He's the overall European Commissioner for Trade in general from 2004 to 2008.
Yeah, it's really, really big stuff.
So listen to this, right? He met Epstein in the early 2000s. Documents show that. I'm not going to go into email specifics. I'm just going to tell you what in the emails, basically, what the emails show. He met Epstein in the early 2000s. In 2002, there's evidence that he encouraged Prime Minister Tony Blair to meet Epstein, insinuating that Tony Blair and Epstein had a relationship like this as well. So there we go. Another powerful, Lord Mendelson himself is already a powerful individual in European politics. So he's got another one, but even then, that's not enough. Now he's got Tony Blair, the Prime Minister, as well in his pocket. He maintained his relationship with Epstein through the 2008 conviction, actually made no qualms about that. He stuck with him through and through. I believe, I didn't find the specific emails, but I did find reporting saying that basically Mendelson sent emails to Epstein encouraging him to keep fighting, He'll get through it, etc. Things to that kind of sentiment. And then there's evidence of Mendelson, while serving as business secretary, feeding Epstein government intelligence that could be used for financial trading. For example, he emailed Epstein that a 500 billion with a B, European bank bailout was almost complete and should be announced tonight, which was sent to Epstein the night before the announcement, giving Epstein 24 hours to act, which is, mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing. You know, Dutton got caught doing pretty much the same thing.
Right, well, American audience, can you please explain who Dutton is?
Just look up Peter Dutton. It'll be the first thing that you see.
Another Australian politician.
The most terrifying image you will ever see in your life. He is a visibly terrifying man. He does look exactly like Voldemort. I'm not just saying that. Like, go look at him. He looks like Voldemort. But yeah, like during our global financial crisis, when you are in opposition and when you're in government, you get briefed before like this that you are about to announce a bailout. So we were announcing a bailout for our big four banks.
I wonder who benefited.
Huh?
I said, I wonder who benefited.
Well, that's what happened, right? Like, then conveniently, Dutton just buys a shitload of shares in those banks like the day of. Just before it's announced.
And this is what I mean, that 2008 was an enormous transfer of wealth.
Because you're just looking at that exact opportune time when the stocks have hit rock bottom and you know that they're about to skyrocket again.
Yeah, I mean,
you're just like getting like absolute profit out of it.
It's free money for them. If you know the information that now's the best time to strike, the stocks are going to explode tomorrow, based on information that we're about to release, I'm just going to slap down $500 million on that and then generate an extra, several billion dollars in profit. Why not?
Far out. I don't know if I'd be able to say no, man. It's a lot of fucking hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, but you've got enough.
I suppose when you're at that stage, hey, like we are talking about billionaires.
You've got enough.
You have enough.
In 2009, he updated. I think at that point, it just becomes the love of the game for them. You know what I mean?
Well, it also could just be because you are ensuring that you are going to be in the elite for the next round. Because if you don't do those things, you're kind of you're on the outside.
You're left behind.
Like you don't have the same.
You don't have as much influence post 2008 that you did pre 2008. And influence doesn't just mean money. Of course, money buys you influence, but influence means obviously lobbying is a understatement here. I think lobbying is the legal process of doing that, whereas they were doing the illegal process of guiding state policies and such like that to benefit them. So, of course, if you have the most influence post 2008, you are the New World Order. In 2009, he updated Epstein on Treasury tax policies as they happened, as they were to come to happen. Epstein explicitly told Mendelson to give him information, quote, before Jez, end quote. And Jez is no more other than Jez Staley, the JP Morgan executive at the time. So he's saying, hey, Mendelson, I know you're obviously a European Commissioner for Trade or whatever, so you're privy to sensitive information, or you're the Secretary of State for Business and Innovation. You're a previous Labour MP. You've got a lot of connections here. Whatever information you have, make sure that you give it to me, Epstein, before you give it to the JP Morgan, the banking executives, so that I'm able to, benefit from this before they do, before they make any changes.
Yes.
So basically what that means is a cabinet minister was essentially giving a Wall Street connected sex offender advance notice of major financial policy decisions.
It's pretty extraordinary.
There's also evidence that he directly lobbied on behalf of Epstein's just interests in general, lobbied the Obama administration in March 2010 to water down US banking trade restrictions on behalf of Epstein as well as Jez Staley. So, yeah, I mean, again, like we were just saying, enforcing policy through influence. And then I found an interesting email here from 2012 between Peter Mendelson and J.E. Vacation, Jeffrey Epstein's vacation email. So this first email comes from Peter Mendelson to Jeffrey Epstein. It says, I thought you knew, this is quote, I thought you knew because I have said and written how much I appreciate your support. You are not an easy person to give to you because you already have. But when you didn't have during your trials and tribulations, i.e. 2008, I never left your side. I was always there with advice and moral support, and I never turned away. So although I accept your stricture, of course, and feel it deeply, I don't think it has been a total one-way street. Epstein sends to Mendelson, quote, glad you enjoyed Harvard. However, I must tell you that after years of being by your side, supporting your boyfriend when he needed it, unwavering in my guidance, though emotionally rejected, I am disappointed in what appears to be a one-way street. Jeffrey, can I have? Jeffrey, can you give? Jeffrey, can you organize? Can you call? Can you arrange? You have yet to offer real assistance. Sign of gratitude or appreciation. Sorry, end quote. So Jeffrey Epstein's laying down the law there that he's not getting his appropriate tributes from...
Yeah, where's my tribute?
He's not getting his appropriate tributes from Lord Mendelson here. So
I really don't like that email, gotta say.
Why?
I don't know, there's something very it's just quite mafia-ish, isn't it?
Oh,
Laid with that sort of Jewish mother guilt. It's like both of those things happening at the same time there. It's like quite threatening and at the same time kind of just like, you really are a bad person. You don't call, It's like it's too...
manipulative. Yeah. But manipulative. I mean, it's evidence that, when Epstein didn't get what he wanted from you, he would lay down the manipulations, basically. Be like, well, and it wasn't all just sinister blackmail, i.e. he would use other tactics as well, being like, well, you haven't given me tribute lately, and that's starting to make me feel a bit bad, Mendelson. You don't want old Jeff to feel bad, do you, Mendelson? Stuff like that, which in of itself is a threat. You don't want Jeffrey Epstein, the man who holds all of your information in his palms, to be unhappy with you now, do you?
No. No.
So here's an email from Peter Mendelson to Jeffrey Epstein. Sources tell me $500 billion euro bailout almost complete, to be announced later tonight. And that's sent to Jeffrey Epstein again immediately from his BlackBerry wireless device, meaning he's on the go. He's like, shit, I got to let Jeffrey know this shit right now. I got to let him know. He's going to be angry with me if I don't let him know immediately.
Isn't that incredible?
And this is how they all were towards him, man. It's crazy.
He was the node.
Then there's emails also talking about, from Peter Mendelson, talking about basically the scene in Russia, I think it was at the time, why he was there. He said, it's a rave. And then Jeffrey replied saying, you mean it's for gays? And then Peter replied saying, no, tasty models and dancing. So
tasty models.
He's enjoying the tasty models in that place, whatever that means. And then we have another picture here that was found in the files of Lord Peter Mendelson in his underwear with a censored woman in a bathrobe. Looks like a rather sneaky photo taken. And of course, this is in Jeffrey Epstein's files. So it's sourced from Jeffrey Epstein, meaning that Jeffrey Epstein was taking a few candid photos of Lord Mendelson in his underwear, perhaps, for reasons, I'm sure. For some kind of blackmail purposes, I'm sure.
God, it really takes the Lord out of it, doesn't it? Just seeing him just with a shirt and underwear.
Yeah, with his fucking...
It's like quite a what's the word? Like it's just like it takes all the esteem out of you walking around in tighty whities.
I was going to say tighty whities. Look at that. It's gross.
It's tighty whities.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the breaking news in terms of Lord Mendelson, another prominent, very wealthy, very powerful person with a lot of influence, seemingly not being powerful enough to be above the totem pole of Jeffrey Epstein. Even those extremely powerful people have a master. And the master, it seems, has always been Jeffrey Epstein. But who, I wonder, was Jeffrey Epstein's master? Food for thought. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, yep. Well, if you've listened to all of our podcasts, it's very obvious what Jackson was talking about.
It's Santa Claus.
Yes, very cool. I mean, yeah, we have done a lot of Christmas-related content for some reason.
All right, that's going to do it for this emergency episode of Red Thread. Thank you very much. You can head on over to official.men, 7-day free trial. If you like our shows and want to support our shows, then official.men, it keeps Jordan clothed and fed. So head over there.
Please feed me. I'm so hungry.
We've got a new show over there, actually. I think I mentioned at the start of the episode, but if you like less serious things, Jordan and I have done an episode where we read fan fiction. It's for a show called Smut Rot. Go check it out. It's exclusive over there for now. It will be made public in the future to see what people think. But if you want to hear it right now, official.men. You get a 7-day free trial if you sign up right now at official.men. So it's free, 7-day free trial. Go try it out, and you get early access to all of our shows and things like that, and also access to Smut Rot. Please let us know what you think if you do go check out Smut Rot. We're really happy with it. Everyone's really happy with it. Everyone loves it over there. So
it was a good read.
Hey, go see what all the good reviews are about.
Yeah. Do that.
All right, there goes Jordan on
his
motorcycle.
Help a brother out. Oh, did you hear that?
Yeah, it sounded like you zoomed off. That was pretty cool. On your Harley Davidson.
Yeah. If only I wasn't scared of, generally anything that requires a helmet. But instead, I bid you all adieu. Now, I'm going to go send Jackson some nudes.
All right, see you guys.
See you,
I guess I'm busy for the next few hours. See ya.
Tidy white.